After 3 long years, the second and final season is set to leave us all in shock over what happens with its characters. We can only imagine what kind of impossible situations or choices our favorite characters will have to face. However, one thing is certain. This season will transform the series into something totally different from what we got from season 1. In fact, Linke, one of the creators and writers of the show, said that this is the season of opposites. Adding to that, from the soundbites we got from Ella Purnell, the voice of Jinx, we can't really get our hopes up for the ending. I'll be covering what she said about Jinx after the rest are done, so I hope you can catch it because we'll be breaking down a lot of the characters in this video. As far as opposites go, let's begin with the first teaser. In the first teaser, we see a huge body suspended by wires that's feeding it a large amount of shimmer. If this body looks familiar, it's because it's what Vander looked like when he overused shimmer to save Vi during the first season. We know that Singed is obsessed with bringing people back to life, or at least beating death, as shown by how he treated his pet during Victor's flashback, so it's pretty probable what's going to happen. If you can recall, Vander was always under control during the first season. He was always conscious of his actions, and he was pretty much a pacifist after the rebellion that he led failed. This all goes out the window when we see Warwick. For those who don't know, he's a League of Legends champion that's a werewolf, and it's long been suspected that he's related to Vi and Jinx. And with this, we're almost sure that Warwick is Vander. Something to add to this is the in-game dialogue that Warwick has with other characters. For example, he tells Singed that Zon gave me claws long before you did. This could very well be a reference to the moniker that he had when he was Vander, which was the Hound of the Underground. There's also another in-game line where he asks Vi, "Who taught you how to punch?" He is, of course, referring to himself when he was Vander. Now, back to the series and the trailer. In the short clips that we see him, we immediately get the idea that Warwick is the complete opposite of Vander. He's out of control, he's driven by instinct, and he's totally violent. You can even say that the fatherly aura of Vander was replaced by the beastly one of Warwick. Moving past Vander, another parent that is the complete opposite from the last season is Ambessa. We get this because we see her donning a war mask during the teaser, as well as calling on the army of Noxus. And you might say that she was already a warlord during the first season of Arcane, but she was so detached from the troubles of Piltover that it hardly mattered. She was very aloof, and you know what? Let's just say that she was super chill during season 1. She really just wanted to buy weapons from Jayce, and that was it. Now, with a complete 180, she's leading the army of Noxus against the battle with the Zonites, and she's even saying that wrath will be met with wrath, as though it was personal to her. I guess that it says a lot about the status of Mel Medarda and whether she's alive or, unalive. For more clues on Mel's status, Mel's voice actor actually said this when she was asked whether the character was alive. Am I coming back to voice Mel Medarda? I'm not allowed to say. I will say it will be interesting maybe if there were some flashbacks of the character. Okay, so that does not bode well for Mel Medarda fans. If you're a Mel Medarda fan, I'm sorry. Anyway, let's go on to the favorite characters of the fan base for the Piltover side, Jayce, Caitlyn, and Vi. As far as opposites go, we now see that he's willing to make hextech weapons now. Vi had her Atlas gauntlets repaired, which he knows will be used for fighting. And from the trailer, we also see that Caitlyn is sporting a new hextech weapon as well. If you can recall, this was a major issue for him during season 1. I guess now, he's accepted that hextech will be weaponized no matter what. Also, there has to be a pivotal moment for him to make that change. And again, that does not bode well for Mel Medarda fans. With what little information I could get from the internet, everything that I could gather was already put in a past video. I'll leave a link at the end of the video. So now we move on to Caitlyn, and as far as transformation into opposite goes, hers is one of the more extreme ones. You see, in the first season of Arcane, Caitlyn was one of the ones pushing for peace no matter what. She was very vocal when she opposed Jayce's plan to raid the shimmer factories, but not so much when Vi suggested it. But it was clear that she was a proponent of peace during that season. In the teaser trailer, we see a very determined Caitlyn leading a strike force of her own, and this team, of course, included Vi. This cold-looking Caitlyn is a far cry from the peacemaker that we saw in season 1. Here we see that she's willing to take it straight to the Undercity and lead a team of her own to end the bad actors of Zon with a special interest in Jinx. We already discussed in the past video what happened to her, and it's in the link that I'll leave at the end, but mostly her change revolves around her mother. Now, let's take a look at our main protagonist, Vi. As per Arcane in detail, during the midpoint of the upcoming season, Vi perhaps has one of the most drastic changes to her character. Amanda Overton, one of the writers of Arcane, had this to say about her transformation. We all see Vi as a protector, and we wanted to ask who Vi would be if she had no one left to protect. The result is Vi hitting rock bottom and becoming an underground fighter, repeating a destructive cycle of violence, drinking, and mental breakdowns. Again, there's more information in the previous video that I made, but suffice it to say, this happens during the middle of the second season. Going back to Vi and how the word opposite applies to her, you have to place a lot of importance on the repetitive violence and mental breakdowns that Vi has. Why? Because this was Jinx during the first season. The article even states that Vi begins hallucinating about the people she loves. So that's pretty much Jinx in a nutshell. So she failed at trying to protect Jinx, which was her driving force during the first season. And now that Jinx has left her, she is essentially an empty shell who only knows about fighting. Of course, another simpler way to associate the word opposite to Vi is that now she's become an enforcer. She's part of the very force that killed her parents during the rebellion and the ones that harassed them growing up. We'll have to see the new season on how else the word opposite affects her, but right now, for Vi, that's all that we have to work with. Moving on to the Undercity characters, let's start with the fan favorite, Victor. I think the word opposite being associated with Victor is very simple to describe. You see, in the first season of Arcane, Victor's obsession with the hex core left him very conflicted. I understand this completely because he's repeatedly shown as an extremely smart man doing some not really smart things. Why, you may ask? Well, it's all about obsession. He was obsessed with the hex core. At the end of the first season, he even asked Jayce to destroy it, but what if Jayce never got the chance to do it because of the missile attack? Or here's another theory. What if Victor's augmentation is actually the one that saves Jayce and himself? This could lead him to embracing the hex core, taking it, and ultimately continuing his transformation. This would leave him in a state completely opposite to everything that he strived to be in the first season. If you want a shocking twist for the opposite agenda, well, the most shocking one is actually for Sevika. We all know Sevika to be the devoted right hand of Silco, but now that Silco's gone, who's there to follow? The answer is simple. It's Jinx. And we have the receipts for you guys, as I'll show you here. In this scene right here, we can clearly see that her left arm is sporting the design aesthetics of Jinx. There's even her color pattern painted into it. The jaws kind of reminds you of the toy that Jinx makes. And in another scene, we see Sevika using Jinx's gun. So from hating Jinx and not being able to stand her, she's now Jinx's right-hand woman. So now you might be wondering, how did the opposite agenda affect Jinx? Well, we're talking about Vi levels of extreme here. And no, she's not an underground fighter. However, she is being revered by the whole Undercity right now. If you remember, in Season 1, no one really wanted to have anything to do with her. In the Season 2 teaser trailer, we see murals of her painted on the walls with children coloring their hair blue. There's even a scene where she's with one of these children cleaning up house. Now, you might think that Jinx being lionized and presented as a symbol of the rebellion is good for her, but the words of Ella Purnell, her voice actor, is very cryptic. Here's what she said. I actually just went back to the studio to complete some automated dialogue replacement for the Season 2 finale, and I cried. So I think other people will cry too. It's devastating, and nobody will feel good after watching it. Amanda Overton, one of the writers of Arcane, actually said in a Reddit discussion that this season will be about forgiveness. However, how will that theme play a part in a season of opposites? Once again, I hope you can check out this video for more information, but I'll keep you updated for any news on Arcane. I hope to see you then, so peace and have a great day.